Welcome to a very important Squid Games tier list video. With Season 2 having an absurd amount of great new characters and storylines, I figured what a better time than now to go through and rank every single one of them. Well, not every single player, that would be way too many, but at least the ones that had more of a spotlight, because there were some amazing new characters in this season. Player 120 was such a pleasant surprise, being the exact proof that Hollywood needs to see, proving that no matter who the character is, as long as they have a good story and are written well, they can be just as amazing of a character as anyone else. Thanos was so refreshingly different from every other person in the entire show, and we got a good, long, close and personal look at the bad guy this season. And we had such a roller coaster of emotions happening to all the players in the rebellion at the end of the season. I want to sit down and rank all of these, and I want you to tell me in the comments which ones I got right or which ones I misplaced. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. I'm Michael J, and since statistically only 5% of the people watching this video are actually subscribed, I'm going to need you to go smash that subscribe button before the channel explodes. We just hit 570,000 amazing friendos, and we're going to try to speedrun 600k before season 3 comes out this summer. We're going to be making a bunch of fun videos that you're not going to want to miss. And to make this tier list video a little more interesting, we're going to be doing this a little differently. Instead of doing it how you'd expect, going numerically from player 1 to player 456, or the other way around, we're going to rank everyone by who has the best chance of actually winning this year's Squid Game. So you definitely need to stick around and watch till the end of the video. We're starting with the losers and then working our way towards the person that I think could actually win. So not only are you going to get to see how amazing or awful each character is, but you'll also get to see who we think actually might win the Squid Games. And this means that we are starting off our list with, you may think, the non-participants like Junho or the captain, but nope, we're starting off with the dead players. Because technically none of them can win the games anymore. While player 95 didn't have a lot of screen time, I feel like she still had enough moments, especially with player 120, Gihun, that I really appreciated. She too was outcast, who just happened upon 120, and it turned into a really wholesome friendship. She ended up forgiving 120 for voting to continue the games even though 95 was terrified, crying, and begging to leave, and told 120 that she was still beautiful when she needed to hear it the most, causing her to start crying. I just thought it was really sweet, and then to see her get killed off and mingle because that player shoulder checked her and 333 rushed in and shut the door, that sucked. Poor Hyunju probably felt so much guilt afterwards for voting to continue the games and then watching the person that accepted her the most die because of it. We're going to start off by putting her right here in the middle. Great character, but just not that much screen time. She basically helped develop player 120's story more, but next, unfortunately, is player 380. Ever since she was introduced, I thought she had such a cool vibe. I love the choker and how real she was, not being fazed by all of Thanos' BS. I love that she tried sticking up for my boy Min-soo, even though he ended up betraying her a couple of times. She was such a cool character and deserves so much better than how she died. I really hated that. It does show the realistic brutality of the games though. I think I'm gonna put her in A tier. The next big character that died is one of my favorites from this season, Thanos himself. Destroyer of Worlds. I thought this character was a breath of fresh air in the midst of a season's worth of death and destruction. I really enjoyed his broken English and him going through each game high as a kite, whether it was skipping through red light, green light, or dancing on the carousel and mingle, or whatever he was doing during the pentathlon. I thought that side of him was hilarious. But he also made for a really good villain. He was so unique. He wasn't the biggest, baddest, but he still was bad enough to manipulate others and make the games harder for some. I think Thanos for me will easily be one of my S tier characters. He just brought so much life and carelessness to these sadistic games, he made it easier to watch. It wouldn't have been the same without him this season. Next up is another great player we lost too soon, player 390, Junbae. I thought it was so cool that they brought Gihun's friend from season 1 into the games, giving him someone to trust and get close with. Junbae was this year's Sang-woo from season 1, but he wasn't evil. I think he actually was a good person, and I loved him and player 388's friendship too, bonding over their time in the service. I felt like he acted like an older brother figure to him almost. And it's so crazy that out of all of the players this year, Junbae is the only one that saw Inho's true colors. He saw him kill the other player in Mingle and didn't even have the chance to tell anyone. Even up to the rebellion, which he was awesome in, literally charging the HQ to the very end with Gihun. It was just so sad to see him get killed off. I wonder if Inho was so quick to grab him in the last round of Mingle because he wanted to make sure he survived that game so he could eventually kill him later on to hurt Gihun. Interesting theory. I think he's going in S tier as well. I really liked him. He reminded me a bit of where Gihun was at in life in season 1. Oh yeah, I totally forgot. He's not a player, but this character died a while ago too. The Recruiter. For only being in just one episode this season, he had one of the most impactful spotlights of the entire show. His crazy antics in the first episode got so many people talking about him. His crazy confidence while gambling with his life will never not blow my mind. And all those side quests he was going on with the homeless was so weird and unnecessary. I wasn't sure if he was trying to make himself feel like a good person or he was trying to make a point to all the homeless. This is another one of my favorite characters from the entire show, but this season he completely outshined himself. He's living in S tier. Now we're getting into the alive characters, and since we're still going in order of who has the best chance to win, next up is all the non-players, starting with the captain. Now I think starting out I kind of liked him just because he was helping Junho seemingly out of the goodness of his heart, which was a little suspicious, especially when he was so adamant that they keep looking when he's not being paid, and it's not even really his interest to find the island. But then as you learn, he's been wasting Junho's life for the last couple years, taking him everywhere away from the island on purpose. I was pretty pissed. It was cool that he's the one that saved Junho after he got shot in season 1, but that was more of In-ho's doing. He's going in the C tier. Okay, next up is the guards. I had to include them because of how much I specifically loved the pentathlon guards. Every time a team would complete a checkpoint, they'd hit the little O above their heads. It was adorable. There was of course some that I didn't like those ones that were bullying number 11, but I really liked seeing number 11's story and the behind the scenes look into why the guards are here and who they are. But the O guards were my absolute favorite. I needed to include them just to put them in A tier. And next up is the secondary frontman, or the backup frontman, whatever we're calling him. He was such an unexpected character. We didn't get to see anyone like this in the first season, and even in this season, we didn't get to see him too much, but not only does it seem like he oversees the games while the frontman is away, while he's with the VIPs, or just for whenever he can't be there for whatever reason, but also that he knows about and seems to be a part of the black market organ operation, which is really surprising. It seemed like the frontman didn't know about it and was pissed when he found out in season 1, but this could be the guy who's running it. I really wonder. I'm not sure if we're gonna get an answer or we'll get to see much of him in season 3 since In-ho has resumed being the frontman, but I still hope he's at least there so we can see their interaction after the rebellion. I wonder if he's going to get fired with a gun or not. But for now, maybe we can shoot him up to B tier for us. Next up is guard number 11, Kang No-ul. She is such a cool character, even outside of the games, but I was so freaking excited that they decided to use her to give us a more behind the scenes look at where these guards come from this season, because we got to see a little BTS last year following Junho as he infiltrated the games, but that just showed us how they operated. We were still left with so many questions about where the guards come from and why they work here, and now because of 11, we know. I'm so excited to see her in season 3. I feel like her story is far from over, especially with that pic they gave us of her on the beach outside of the games. It makes me wonder if somehow she escaped with the father. Yeah, she's definitely going in A tier for me. And now for the father himself, player 246. I know we saw him get shot in the finale, but we saw Junho get shot in season 1 and look how that turned out. They've been hinting at his daughter and number 11 sparing him all season long. There's no way he's actually dead. Personally, I think a guard shot him in a non-fatal spot to harvest his organs, and number 11 is going to find them trying to operate on him, and that will be all she needs to turn on everyone and shoot the entire place up. She could take the father and escape together in hopes of getting back to his kid. I love how much the father helped in the end during the rebellion and how kind he was to Hyunju, and the fact that he's treated her and respected her as a person. I think we're going to put him in A tier as well. And then next up is the frontman, In-ho. I don't think he's going to reinsert himself into the games in any way. He already faked his death. I think season 3 he will just be the frontman continuing the games, but also talking with Gihun as the frontman and entertaining the VIPs and eventually being confronted by Junho. So no way he would win the games, but still, such a great twist to have him be the undercover player in the games this season. I really love how invested he is in Gihun, and I love how often we see him genuinely get lost in these games, having fun and cheering on the others. There's still so much mystery to him, and seeing him play Two-Face all season was so entertaining. I could not believe he actually helped Gihun out in the rebellion, gunning down his own men. I mean, it's not the first time he executed guards, but this was for no reason, just not to blow his cover. I also thought it was really sweet how concerned he was for 222. I think her being pregnant reminded him of his wife when she was pregnant. Easily an S tier character. I'm really excited to see how his story concludes. Next is finally finally, an active player, number 44. She has no chance of actually winning the games, let's be real, and I can't believe how similar she felt to the crazy lady from season 1. She was just as annoying, if not more, convincing other players to vote to continue the games or she would curse them or something. At least the woman in season 1 had redemption by taking out the biggest bully in the end. Talk about going out strong. I only liked 44 when she was trying to win the pentathlon and Hyunju had to smack some sense into her. Yeah, sorry, she's going in D tier. And next up is my boy Minsu. I do not think in any way he can win the games either, and am kinda surprised he survived this long. I feel like he was mainly a supporting character, building up 380's character and giving Thanos someone to bully around and eventually giving player 333 someone to stick up for, causing the bathroom riot. But now that Thanos and 380 are killed off, I'm not sure what they're going to do with this character. But I really didn't like how he just sat by and basically let 380 get killed off, and when he betrayed her in Mingle too. I know that's just who this character is, but still, he's going in C tier. Next is 124, Thanos' friend Namgyu. While he's in Thanos' shadow all season, he definitely was a bit more annoying. I hated how mean and manipulative he was to Minsu and how he literally led the charge of the night killings, which killed off 42 players, most of which were the X's. That's crazy. I did enjoy the parts where he was high with Thanos, but not enough to love his character. I think he's going in C tier as well. Now to the next villain, player 100. As much as I don't like him because he's a bad person, I really enjoyed how good of a bad guy he was, playing into the realistic side of the overly greedy players, representing those who just want more money and will keep the games going. I love how good he was at rallying all the players behind him to play just one more game each time they voted. He played into Inho's plan perfectly, convincing Gihun that some people want to play in these games. They don't want to be saved from them. I feel like 100 is going to meet a very fitting death in season 3. Let's put him here. Next up is player 149. I love this sweet old lady. Her dynamic with her son is really entertaining to watch, the ups and the downs. It gives a different layer of emotion to their characters. I love how much she cares for 222, constantly checking on her and giving her extra food and taking her to the bathroom. And I love that secret knife she has hidden in her hairpin. I really hope we get a chance to see her use it in season 3. If I remember correctly, I think I heard that the actor playing her, as well as the one playing her son, wrapped shooting a couple months before the others, which could mean they get killed off sooner than the rest. I'm worried that with the long break between the first half and second half of the games, we will forget that most of these characters, if not all of the ones we've grown fond of, will probably end up getting brutally killed off. I don't think 149 has any chance of winning the games, but I loved seeing her warm up to and become friends with Hyunju. I think I'm gonna put her in A tier. And her son, player number 7. I do like him as a character, but I wasn't fond of how little he tried to fight to get back to his mother and Mingle when those guys took him away. It seemed like he just kinda gave up. Other than that, he still was funny and a good team player. I mean, he did vote to continue the games even though his own mother was in them. I don't know how anyone could do that. It's basically giving your mother up to possibly be killed. So I think that's gonna put him in C tier. Player 333 is up next, and I am very torn with him. He's one of the players who hasn't really been a part of a group or a team in any way. He's kind of always alone. I mean, his actions and crypto scams before the games don't make him any bit of a good person, but seeing him all alone and Thanos always picking on him, you kind of want to see him do better or be better. And I had a little bit of hope in the last round of Mingle, seeing him grab 222's hand and run straight for the room. I just wish when he was saying that he wanted to have a life with her after the games, he didn't mention investing both of their prize money, because it very easily seems like he just wants to use her for her money, which I don't like one bit. But at the same time, I couldn't help but feel like he actually wants to try again and be there to raise the child together. I'm so on the fence with him, but I have hope and wouldn't be surprised if he dies by sacrificing himself to save 222 and the baby. I think he's gonna go in B tier for me. Now next is 222. I really love how everybody in the games has been so nice to her and has not hesitated to contribute to making her time easier in here. At first I was surprised that she was even allowed into the games while pregnant. There's no way they didn't know. I mean, even the recruiter, I can't picture him playing slapdachi with her. I really want her to have a good ending where everyone stops the games and we see her get out and raise the baby, but I'm worried worried it's similar to Sebyuk in Season 1. We were rooting for her so hard, especially at the end of the games, and to see her die in there right before the finish line was heartbreaking. With the voting this season, it feels like there's a little more hope, but we still gotta remember it is Squid Games. She's easily going in A tier. Next up is Daeho, player 388. I really liked his character overall, even for how disappointed I was in the fact that in the end he refused to return to the other players in the rebellion with the extra ammo. Even still, I really enjoyed the rest of his screen time. I felt like he saw the glass half full and brought a lot of energy to the group. And I love that since he was basically raised by his 4 sisters, he was always super considerate and compassionate towards 222, always looking out for her. I thought that was really nice to see. I'm sure being raised by 4 girls gave him a little more empathy. I loved him and Jungbei's chemistry. They were always really fun to watch, and even though in the end he was brave enough to join the rebellion, him not returning basically killed off some of the other players. But in the same sense, the guards did overrun them eventually and may have killed him and Hyunju as well. So him staying in the bunks might have unintentionally saved player 120. I think he's gonna go in A tier as well. Which leads us to Hyunju. I really like this character. I think this was an absolute great example of a well-written character. I hate when people blame fans for not liking a character because of their gender details. I love that this proved that wrong on so many levels, showing us and everybody that all they need to do is write a good story around them and we don't care about anything else. It was a great representation. The director did such an amazing job, and I really hope this inspires other similar characters to be written better in Western media. 120 herself has a great story that makes you feel for her. You, like the rest of the players, slowly warm up to her over the course of the games, and by the end of it, when she's leading the rebellion with Gihun, she's the baddest character out there. So proficient with the MP5, it was so cool watching her take down all the guards and step up as a leader. I really liked her. She is easily going in S tier for me. Now, I don't think Hyunju will win the games by any means, but I think she has a better chance than everyone else so far. There was a crazy theory going around that it's possible that Junho, while searching for the island, would stumble across guard number 11 and the father escaping, and they would help him infiltrate the games. And then there was another theory that once inside, Junho would somehow sneak into the games as a player and win them just to finally get to meet face to face with his brother. And while I don't necessarily think there's a good chance that this will happen, I just wanted to put him here in the list just to entertain this theory because that would be crazy. Junho was such a good character in Season 1, and in Season 2, he was ripped out of the spotlight and thrown very aggressively into the back seat, strapped into the car seat, and tied down like Will Byers in Stranger Things Season 4. I can't believe how much of nothing he did all season. He was trying to put in effort to find the island, but the captain was largely keeping him doing the same thing over and over again for the last 2 years. The most progress he made is when he stumbled into Gihun in episode 2. While I think he'll play a much larger role in Season 3, I think he's gonna sit in tier B for backseat. And finally, it's time for Gihun himself. He has had so much dumb luck all the way back since the start of the games in Season 1, and the frontman has an obsession with him now, and it seems like he's keeping him alive for some reason, like we saw in the new pictures. It almost looks like he'll be chained to the bed and won't be participating in the next game, but I doubt he's done entirely. They did such a good job with the twist of this season being Gihun hunting down the games and trying to stop them once and for all. I mean, the first 2 episodes are completely different from the rest of the show. The intensity between him and the recruiter at the end of episode 1 was crazy. And I'm really happy they told us everything he's been working on since we saw him last. I really wondered why they couldn't find them recruiting for the games the year prior, like they gathered players from a different city or something. I love seeing Gihun try to save everyone in red light green light. He made such a big difference this year. But I was also really happy that only that game was the same and all the others he had no idea what to expect. It's so cool and frustrating at the same time to see him try to convince the players each time they vote to stop the games, and he just gets overthrown each time. It definitely brought back that hopeless feeling he usually has, but in a different light. By far, one of the coolest parts is when Gihun organized the rebellion. I loved that so much. Great job evolving the character enough to make him just as interesting, if not more, for another season. Easily gets S tier. Which also means I think if anyone was going to win the games, it would once again be him. Although I do think there's a better chance we see them go down in flames than actually finish this year, but still. Thanks for watching. Tell me who your #1 favorite character was this season in the comments. I think mine personally would have to be Inho, the frontman, either him or Thanos, but probably Inho. I can't wait for Season 3 to come out. I will see you soon. Peace.